Today I'm going to read The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. In this book, I'm going to mark for you the elements of plot. You can use this video to review how to identify the elements of plot in a fiction text with a linear plot prior to demonstrating mastery of this skill for your teachers. The Invisible Boy. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Miss Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. Nathan has problems with what Miss Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice inside too much. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. Well, I'm starting to form hypothesis that perhaps Brian doesn't get noticed by his teacher, but I'm not certain that that's my problem yet, because what I want to watch for is an inciting incident and then a conflict that can work through the rest of the text. And so I'm going to keep going. I think I'm still in exposition. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best player gets picked first, then the best friends of the best player, then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left still waiting and hoping. But he looks like he's still hopeful here. So I don't think that this is my inciting incident yet. Now something's starting to change. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Let's play ball. I'm going to let this still be part of my exposition, and here's why. I want to make sure this isn't a one-time thing for Brian. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the next page. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swings over the pool was awesome, says JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, adds Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, said Madison. Everybody did except Brian. He wasn't invited. So what I'm going to do is I am going to mark the inciting incident as this pool party, the best pool party ever. And I'm going to put the conflict is that Brian's not invited to do things. And the reason I'm picking this and not this, because I was really back and forth, is the text tells me explicitly here that he wasn't invited. And so I'm going to name that as my conflict. Once I have found my conflict, then I can go back and put an exposition sticker on the text. I'm actually going to put it right here on the text immediately prior to this and on the very first page of the text, because all of this text from page 1 until that second yellow sticker is my exposition. Now, after conflict, I'm going to start watching for my climax or turning point. That's not actually the next element of plot. I'm sorry. Rising action is. But rising action is kind of like exposition. It spans over a group of pages or chapters. So if I identify the climax or the turning point, then I know everything after the conflict and before the climax is rising action. Watch me do that. At choosing time, while the other kids play board games and read, Brian sits at his table, doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons scaling tall buildings. Thank you for toasting my marshmallow. Space aliens locked in intergalactic battles, greedy pirates digging for treasure, and superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. Hi, friend. Have a cookie. On Monday morning, Miss Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds. Feel like we're moving towards climax because I'm starting to have some hope now that maybe Brian's going to make a friend, but I'm not sure. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. What's that? Asked Madison as she points at Justin's food. It's bulgogi. Bull what? bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some? There is no way I'm eating bulgogi. And the kids laugh. All of them, that is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. That could be my climax, but remember, climax is where I think nothing's going to go right for Brian. And here, maybe, but I don't have a lot of hope yet, so I'm going to keep thinking about this as I go. The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good. Brian. Well, now Brian's trying to be a friend to Justin, so I'm starting to have some hope. And look here, Brian's getting color, so I think maybe. At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. You're Brian, right? Yeah. Thanks for the note. Hey, Justin, Emilio calls out from the tetherball court. You're up next. Sorry, I gotta go, says Justin. By the way, that's a really cool drawing, he adds before taking off. Back in class, Miss Carlotti asked the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads toward Justin. I'm already with Justin, says Emilio. Find someone else. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. Do you see how we had hope? We see Justin start to be nice, and we hope that they're going to partner up, but then Emilio comes, and now Brian feels terrible. This is our climax, our turning point, right here, guys. Now I can go backwards, and everything before this and after the conflict is rising action. So I'm going to go back and tag those pages. Now, the next piece in the plot that I'm looking for is resolution. And that's where Brian's problem of never getting picked or invited is solved. Mrs. Carlotti said we can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio. Let him work with us. Emilio says, okay, I guess. Is that my resolution? He does get invited. So I'm going to stick this here for now, but I might move it. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in the photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. Whoa, cool, says Emilio. What kind of people do you think live in houses like that? I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story, says Justin. Brian smiles and takes out his lucky pen. He seems to be being nicer here. They draw all these things together. Oh, but lunchtime is what's been hardest for Brian. I'm going to pull this resolution off. I'm not positive because I really want to make sure. I don't know. I'm going to leave it here. Sometimes, guys, plot really takes a lot of going back and forth to clarify your thinking. So now, it's lunchtime, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else. But him. Brian, he hears someone shout, Hey, Brian, over here. Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian and make some room for him at the table. Okay. We're really solved here. And I'm looking for the last little image because I want to mark my denouement before I mark my falling action. Maybe, just maybe, Brian's not so invisible after all. That's that feeling that the author leaves me with. That wrapping the story up and letting me know that Brian's going to be okay. Once I've found my denouement, then I can come back and mark all the text before my denouement and after my resolution, and that is my falling action. I hope that helps you review elements of plot and understand how to find them and tag them in a text.